Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. As promised, we're going to bring you a next installment of the three-part series on the NRL Hunter build. In the previous episode, if you haven't watched that one, go and jump on that. It's within the playlist. You should be able to find that on there. Give that a watch and I'll give you a rough idea of what we're up to for this build. But today is the day that we've got all the bits together and we can talk through this incredible build, what we're going to do, and how we're going to run it for the NRL Hunter match on the 1st of March up at Gardiner's Guns. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So folks, the first thing I need to do is give a huge shout out to Highland Outdoors. They are the channel partner for this particular series. They've been kind enough to help us source the components which are going into this build. We had a few plans. We weren't quite sure where we were going to go with it, what we were going to do. But the guys over at Highland Outdoors are some of the best guys you'll meet. Dan and Steve, special shout out to those guys, have done a solid and helped us out with some of the components for this build. So as you know, I have a humble Tikka T3 action, which has a factory trigger in it, and I wanted to use that as the basis for an NRL Hunter build. Now what I've done is gone with some of the best components that you can get on the market. Now, the idea behind this series was not necessarily to be the cheapest, but to get the best you can get, but also show those of you out there that may be considering not just an NRL Hunter build, but a conversion of your existing rifle to take perhaps a carbon barrel or upgrade your stock or upgrade your optic to improve your setup that you use for stalking and hunting. So we're hopefully going to tick all those boxes and we'll run through everything that we can with this build, and you can join us as we put it together. We'll do a very, very quick build up and we'll go through everything involved. Now, when it comes to barrels, there's not many in the market that come straight to mind as being the best of the best. I have gone with a Proof Sendero profile carbon fiber barrel on this build now. So this has been fit. Did this in my workshop. Everything's been torqued up to spec and fitted onto the action. It is a 1-in-8 twist 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, the Creedmoor has a love-hate relationship with most people. A lot of people love it. Some people don't get it. Some people don't understand it. Some people just don't like it, full stop. But me personally, the 6.5 Creedmoor, the humble Creedmoor, is absolutely one of the best cartridges that you can run in a rifle setup, specifically for hunting, stalking, and definitely NRL Hunter. If you're running in NRL Hunter as a single shooter, not in a team, obviously myself and James, we're going to run a team match on the 1st of March. You would be wanting to make something called power factor, which is the weight of your bullet times the speed, and you need to hit a certain number. So the 6.5 Creedmoor running Hornady match 140 ELDMs, which I'll be running through this rifle, will make that power factor if I was running as a single shooter. But we're going to be running as team, so a few little things like weight and power factor and stuff go out the window when you run as a team, but we're going to run that on this build. I went down to see my good friend at JR Firearms. JR is a magician. He does some of the best smith work you'll ever see, and he kindly fluted this bolt for us, which was incredible to watch. The process is pretty simple, and Jack, as I said, is a bit of a master at work. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's done plenty of these bolts, and he helped us out with that. So thank you very much to Jack Looking forward to seeing you on Saturday at the show. So fluted bolt. I mean, it doesn't really add a great deal. It makes the action slicker ever so slightly. There's more place and space for dirt and stuff to go to. So when you cycle the bolt, they can filter through. But most of all, it just looks a bit Gucci, really. And I think everybody likes a fluted bolt. So, Sendero profile, 22-inch barrel, carbon fiber proof, 1 in 8 twist. That's going to do the job very, very well for us. And when I get out and do some zeroing and some testing, I'll be sure to pop those pictures and information up on Instagram and via the store channel and bits and pieces on my own personal channels. So keep an eye out for that, because that Hornady match ammunition shoots lights out of pretty much all rifles. I don't think I've ever had a rifle that does not like the Hornady match stuff. So a thank you to Edgar Brothers for helping us with that as well. Now, we could have gone a few different ways with stocks, chassis systems, and a few different options were definitely on the table. Now, in the back of my mind, I was slightly conscious about the budget. I wanted to make sure, as I said at the start of this video, I wanted to make sure that it's not necessarily the cheapest, but also some of the best stuff you can get. But then, when the options were laid out in front of me, there was one clear winner, which is what we've gone for on this build. Now, I could have run something like the Warrior Gen 7 chassis, which is on the wall behind me, but it's a chassis system, it's stainless, it's heavier. Now, when I do want to run some single NRL matches, I want to try and get down as light as possible. So, enter the Graybo Phoenix 2. Now, these are just coming into the UK. They were on exhibit at the shooting show in 2024, and I think, from what I've heard, they were pretty well received. Now, a stock shipment has landed, which is fantastic, because it gives us access to this new stock. Now, Graybo, they are the people's stock. They build an incredibly good system. This is obviously inlet for Tikka T3. All of the specs and information you can find on the Graybo website, but it's very, very light. Comes with an a M-lock system underneath there, so you can pop that on, as well as QD cups in several places along the stock. I've actually popped one of my OBI link systems onto here, because what will happen is I will be clipping this rifle to my bag when we're shooting the match. It just allows easier access, makes it easier to carry. Chamber flag facing forward, so any ROs on range can see that the rifle's safe, but it's also clipped on. It makes it a bit easier to carry. So, stock, Graybo Phoenix 2. Retail-wise, I'm pretty sure prices will be confirmed at the British Shooting Show, which is coming up this weekend. If you see me, come and say hi. I'll be walking around with my cameras. So, retail last year, I believe, was around £750, £800. So, for an incredibly light, robust, very well made stock, specifically designed for hunting and precision, you're going to hit the mark with all of those. So I'm very excited to be able to shoot this. It comes with spacers for your length of pull, adjustable cheek piece, of course, drops straight in. The T3 requires a recoil lug, which is obviously built into there as well. And it just looks good. It just looks good. It's an incredible option. There was other options available, as I said, but when it comes to my stalking and hunting rifles, I like having something which looks a bit more traditional. So that hit the mark for me. Perfect. In terms of stability, MDT Skypod, very, very hard to beat these. The adjustability that's available with these is just incredible, and they're incredibly solid as well. So that is going to drop straight onto the Arca plate, which I will fit before the match. Suppressor or sound moderator. I'm going with something a bit different. Got an APW Warbird. Now, we had this for a little while. It's going off to the proof house to be proofed, to be able to retail them in the UK. Now, these are incredibly popular in South Africa. Incredibly popular. They are typical APW machining and precision. They are extremely well built. This has currently on it the brake module. Now, suppressor brakes are a bit controversial at the moment. Some people like them, some people don't. Some people, again, a bit like other parts of a rifle system and cartridges, they're subjective. People like different things. This, I absolutely love it. I've been running out of my ATXC at a couple of training days, sorry. And it's a very, very different recoil profile. You get a push that you'd expect from a sound moderator, but you don't get the flip, and you don't have quite as much shove backwards like you get with a suppressor or a sound moderator. The brake module allows the gas dispersion to go out, and it just makes a big difference. You get some of that recoil reduction. You don't get muzzle blast like you would from a muzzle brake, obviously, but you get all the benefit of a sound moderator, and you get the benefit of a brake. So it's like a 50-50. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on as well. So when we get those over, we'll start retailing those. There is a cap that comes with it, so you can take it and turn it into straight moderator. So when I'm doing some testing, I'll work out what's best. I'll see, does it work best with the brake module with this system, or does it work better with a suppressor cap? So more to follow on that one. In terms of optics, as a lot of you know, I'm a Loophole Pro Team shooter, and I'm going to run a 3.6 to 18 Mark V HD. This is obviously 3.6 to 18 power. It's got the PR2 reticle, bags of elevation, 44 millimeter objective lens, standard 35mm tube, and holding that, tier 1 Picatinny rings. Tier 1 are incredibly good with their kit. I don't think I've ever had a zero shift or any non-repeatability when it comes to tier 1. So I've dropped those into a lot of my rifles. My ATXC's got a long saddle on it, now one-piece mount. This has obviously got tier 1. My other rifles I run other rings and other tactical rings, but these ones should fit the ticket perfectly. So overall, we've got a hell of a build. I'm sure you're going to have plenty of questions. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people asking, why did we do this? Why did we do that? But the options that are available to us in the UK, this gives us some great flexibility on what we wanted to build. And I think I've nailed it. I think the truth and the proof will be in the testing, and obviously the match as well. So let's get this thing built up, then we'll go through a few more bits of information, and we'll see how we go. There you have it, folks. One NRL Hunter ready rifle. Now, as you can see already, that's very well balanced. Even with the chunky sound moderator on the end, that's incredibly well balanced. Now, in terms of weight, obviously the aim of the game with NRL Hunter is to be light, especially if you're shooting as a single shooter. Now, without the moderator on it, this build comes in at 9.4 pounds, so it's pretty light. I'm sure you wouldn't mind carrying that around on your back on range, or out in the fields or up in the mountains, wherever you do your stalking and hunting. It's incredibly light. It's going to be a very different shooting experience when you've got something that light. Obviously, when we come to precision rifle, we shoot very heavy rifles, 20, 23 pound, somewhere around that sort of number. But it's going to be exciting to shoot as well, and I'm really looking forward to how well that brake module works on the APW Warbird. This I'm going to go through, and I will talk everything up to exact specs it needs to be. I will talk up obviously the moderator as well, and I'll make sure that the brake module is nice and level. I've done a very, very quick lineup on there because it was timed for another rifle. but I'm sure you will agree, this is a hell of a build, and I'm really, really looking forward to getting out range with it. So any questions, anything you want to know, just give us a shout. Drop a message in the comments, and we'll make sure that I do my utmost best to give you some answers back if you're intrigued about how you can get more out of your Tikka rifle, because obviously this was just a humble Tikka T3, and it was chambered in 243 originally, and it was sat in the safe at the shop, and I thought that is a perfect donor action to make a build like this. So any questions, you can give us a shout. We will do our best to answer them. If you see me at the shooting show, which is on this weekend coming, this video is going to come out probably some point over the weekend, Saturday. It will be shooting show weekend. So if you do see me and you've watched this afterwards, obviously just come say hi anyway. But I'm very, very excited to get out and have a play with this. So what's up next? We will be filming the whole of the NRL Hunter match stages with myself and James. We're both going to have trigger cams on our rifles, which is going to work brilliantly. So you'll be able to see exactly what's going on downrange. You'll be able to see if I run that module, the brake module on there, if it will make a difference to recoil. And I'll do my best to get some videos out on Instagram as well. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'll pop a link in the description below. And I'll do my best to pop some preview videos on there of the difference with the brake module and the sound moderator cap on the end, so you can see what the difference is. In terms of other kit I'm going to run, I've just had this fantastic delivery here from Sun and Shadow in the States. This is their new Gen 3 tripod table, which is formed, but they use a crushed glass in there. It is rock solid. There's like no flex in it at all. So this is going to go straight onto the tripod. So when we get up on stage, we will drop bag on, binoculars straight on, and start scanning the field for those targets. But I'm really excited to use that. I've also got some of their dope cards as well, which are 3x5, which will go into the wrist coach, and I can write all my data on that, get some rounds through this before we hit the match. Obviously, I want to try and get as many through to it and see if we can get us sped up, and that will allow me to get my data. I'll be using my Kestrel with applied ballistics and a custom curve, of course, to make sure that that data is as accurate as possible. So we're mega excited about that. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications. It's going to make a huge difference to us as a channel, and it allows us to see what works and what doesn't. And we will make sure that we're bringing you as much content as we can, as often as we can. And until next time, we'll see you then. I hope you enjoy the build. If you want to come see it sometime, just give us a holler. Or if you see me on range, you're more than welcome to have a shot. We'll see you soon, folks. Cheers.